So what do you think of the seating, Coach?
We're excited, to be able to play in Sacramento and get that first bracket and stay west. I think it was important, and our guys have obviously worked hard throughout the season. And you get to this point of the season, every game is going to be a battle, and you got to be playing good basketball, obviously, when you get in the tournament. So hopefully we can continue to get healthy this week, but we like where we're at.
What's the latest on Lonzo's run?
He's fine. Yeah, he just had a strain to it, so he'll be fine. And if there was any silver lining, TJ just playing 2 games instead of 3 games in 3 days, he's healing much better now too. So obviously getting those guys to 100% is going to be crucial.
When did the thumb injury happen?
I think it was an air ball shot that came off, and he was underneath the basket, and the ball hit it and went out of bounds. Actually, their ball. I think it was first half.
So he'll be able to practice.
Oh yeah.
Will he have to wear any kind of a bandage on it?
No.
Obviously, don't like to look ahead at games, but what do you think of the stacked South region?
Have not even looked at it, to be honest with you.
You got North Carolina, you got Kentucky.
Yeah, and I'll comment with that if we get to that point. The NCAA tournament's about your 14 bracket, and if that's what you got to concentrate on, or you'll never get to any other part of it. So we've been to 2 Sweet 16s in the last 3 years, and the last time we were there, it was about SMU, and I think UAB was there, and maybe Iowa State, if I'm not mistaken, was there. So now we know what our bracket looks like, and those are the teams that we got to really focus on, in particular Kent State. It's one game at a time, but it's really about a mini tournament. And so it's hard. It's hard for players. It's hard for, obviously, fans, but you try to look at the entire bracket, but you want to stay as long as you can, and when you're trying to win it, you got to make sure you win those. You got 3 mini brackets that you got to win, and our first one's in Sacramento.
Coach, what's a day like today for your players? Is it kind of like Christmas morning, just waiting to see what?
Well, I was talking to Isaac and Bryce about it. That 2 years ago we didn't know if we were going to get in, and so it's a little more anxious, and so then there's a lot of euphoria about just seeing your name called and getting in the tournament. Then we played well. Our guys relaxed and did a lot of good things, obviously, and made it to the Sweet 16. But today was different. Today was a group of guys you're sitting there, we're in. You just don't know probably if we're a 2 or a 3 seed and where we're going and who we're playing. A little bit different demeanor. These guys know that their body of work tells them that they're in this tournament, and they've got as good a chance as anybody. We've beaten the Pac-12 champ, we've beaten the SEC champ, we've beaten the Big Ten champ, and 2 of those 3 have been on the road. So we've only lost one game away from here on a neutral court, and that was against Arizona in Vegas. So we've done the job away from home, and obviously in the NCAA tournament, you got to win neutral site games. And I think our guys have confidence that they've done that all year. Now it's just fine-tuning some things, get very healthy here this week, and really be sharp going into it.
Beyond the health, what do you guys need to do to look more like yourselves than you did the last couple of years? Anything?
Well, we just, as far as not looking at ourselves, I think it was, I was telling the guys this, that, the non-conference season's about a month and a half. The conference season, we played Oregon 3 days after Christmas, and we've been playing Pac-12 teams now for 2.5 months. And, we were a little beat up going into the Pac-12 tournament, no excuses, but we had a very tough route. We had to play SC, who I think is, and it showed out in the tournament, they're the 4th best team in our league this year. So we had to play them and their rival to boot on top of that. And then you're playing Arizona next. So sometimes your opponents have an impact on how you play as well, and I respect that. But we didn't shoot the ball particularly well, and we didn't quite have that demeanor that we'd had in the regular season. And so it's really just about, having a good swag, having a good demeanor going into the tournament, knowing that we're one of those teams that have a chance to advance in this because we've proven it during the course of the season. We've been a top 10 team since the Kentucky game. So, the guys need to have that confidence going in. But other than that, just continue to fine-tune what we do offensively. I didn't think we pushed the ball offensively as fast as what we would like to in the Pac-12 tournament. Defensively, we did some pretty good things until the second half of the Arizona game.
What, if anything, do you know about Kent State?
Well, they're out of the MAC. They've won 9 out of their last 10, which is always impressive. They just beat the number 1 seed in Akron in the conference tournament. And I watched a little bit of that, not knowing who we were playing, just watching TV yesterday. I got to see probably 3/4 of that game, not paying a whole lot of attention to it, but just watching basketball on TV. But they've done a lot of good things. Obviously, Western Michigan's in that league. We played Western Michigan. I think that's the only, unless I'm mistaken, it's the only MAC team we played this year. But I'm a Midwest guy, so I know a lot about the MAC. We played Miami, Ohio. We played Toledo. We played several of those teams when I was at Indiana. Ball State's 20 minutes from my hometown of Newcastle, so I know a lot about the Mid-American Conference. I have a lot of respect for it.
Coach, would you care to comment on a personal level what these last 4 years have been like for you coaching your son? This being his
It's
last
been incredible. Been a true blessing. I've said that time and time again. It's those have been opportunities that you don't ever foresee or think that that's going to happen. And more importantly, just how he's handled things makes me very proud, not just as a coach, but as a father as well. And I always like seeing our guys grow. That's I think as a college coach, you want to win as many games, you want to try to win championships, but we're in the education business. And when I get them, and then when I have to let them go, I want them to be better men. And this group of seniors, Isaac, Gerald, and Bryce, are definitely 3 guys that are much better. And that's a great credit to them because they've grown a lot.
It's pretty unusual to see Bryce have more than one shooting game off. He's had a couple in a row now. Have you seen?
Yeah, just emotion, I think. I really do. I think there was a lot of emotion to senior night, and getting through all of that, and then immediately going to the Pac-12 tournament. And, he's a focal point. The teams obviously get into him and have done a nice job. But I thought he got some really good looks that he normally does make. And he was out of rhythm a little bit. But I think a lot of that has to do with just the emotion. And senior night beyond, there was just so much about it. And sometimes that can get you a little bit out of rhythm. And I've talked to him about that, now do what you do. You've got a tough mindset. Maybe TJ battling an injury, whatever it is, whether it's injury or emotion or whatever it is, you get to the NCAA tournament. It's about having that tough mindset of dealing with those things and doing what you do best. And then if that's off, then you got to do some other things. And I fully anticipate him and everybody else will bounce back.
Do you think your loss to Arizona a couple days ago had any effect on your seeding?
I don't think so. I would think we've been probably on that 3 line for a long time is what it looks like.
What advice will you give Lonzo, as all eyes will be on him through the tournament? What do you need to see from him throughout the run?
Be Lonzo. Just be Lonzo. And I got full trust, and that's what we'll see because that's what we've seen all year long. Eyes have been on him for a long time. There's people waiting for us at every juncture that we go to, and he handles it like a champ all the time. So it's not what he's about, and he doesn't worry about those things, what are said or how he's been built up. Or he plays the game for one reason, and that's to win. And so we just need Lonzo to be Lonzo. Go out and be the best player that you are. And when he's at his best, this team is at its best. So I have all the trust in the world that he's not somebody that gets to postseason and changes who he is. He's going to do the things he can to help his team win.
Coach, historically in the early rounds of the tournament, you tend to see some pretty big upsets. So with that in mind, what do you tell your team going into this first game?
We don't spend much time on upsets. Those things happen. That's why it's March Madness. But it's just making sure we're like all of our. She asked about the teams that I can tell you the teams in our bracket right now. That's on the other side. I'm sure our guys are going to know that as they start looking at it. But it's not about looking at that. It's about Kent State. And for the next 5 days, I think we leave here on Wednesday. The next 5 days, they're going to hear one team we talk about, and that's Kent State. You have to. And then if we're lucky enough to win that one, Saturday we'll talk about our next opponent. And but the minute you start looking past and doing those things, that's when upsets occur. So it's our job as coaches to make sure our players are point blank and all their concentrations on Kent State. And then it's the player's job to understand that that's the magic of the tournament. It's one mess up now, you don't get another game. It's if you want to keep playing, you got to keep winning. UCLA,